Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Thank you for joining me for Storytime with Moonie, where I read short stories every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for littles in every community. You can follow me on Instagram at Moonie the Space Kitty or Moonie the Space Kitty SFW. The only difference between the profiles are the tags that I use. Through the profiles, you'll have access to the items I sell in my little shop. Now grab your stuffie and get real comfy. Tonight's story is Tom Thumb. There was once a poor farmer and his wife who loved each other dearly, but there was one thing missing from their lives. How happy I should be if I had but one child, the wife told her husband. Even if it were no bigger than my thumb, I should love it with all my heart. So when the wife heard about the great magician Merlin at the court of King Arthur, she persuaded her husband to pay him a visit. Merlin agreed to help. And months later, the wife had a little boy, no bigger than his father's thumb. They named him Tom Thumb. Tom was a clever boy, and always eager to help his parents. One day, as his father struggled with the cart, Tom had an idea. "Let me get into the horse's ear and tell him which way to go," he suggested excitedly. So Tom gave the instructions, and the horse obeyed. Watching from the road were two strangers. "How odd," said one. "That cart is moving, and I can hear a voice, but I can't see anyone driving." The man followed the cart and soon heard Tom calling, "See, father, I did it." And to their astonishment, the old man lifted a tiny boy out of the horse's ear. The men approached, asking if they could buy Tom, as they could see he would make them a fortune. At first the father refused, but Tom wanted the best for his parents. "Take the money, father," he said. "I promise I'll soon come back to you." So reluctantly, the old farmer handed Tom to the strangers for a tidy sum of money. As they set off, Tom sat perched on one of the men's hats, figuring out his plan. When they finally stopped, he wasted no time, jumping down and running straight into the first mouse hole he saw. The two men tried in vain to reach him, but the hole was too small for their hands. Furious, they were forced to give up. Tom then crept out and found an empty snail shell, where he fell asleep. He was woken by whispering, "There's the parson's home." "Let's steal his gold and silver," said one voice. "But how?" asked another. Sitting up, Tom could just make out two men in dark clothes. "Take me with you, and I'll show you how to get into the parson's house," called Tom. The men were startled to see such a small creature. "I can get into the house without being seen," explained Tom, "and pass out all the valuables." So Tom went along with the thieves and found himself standing in a hall of the parson's house. "Do you want this candelabra? Candelabra. I don't know if I said that right, I'm sorry," shouted Tom through the window. "Keep your voice down," came the whispered reply. But Tom continued to make a noise, hoping to wake someone. It was the cook who woke first. Hearing the clatter and the sounds of voices, she sprang out of bed. She failed to notice Tom in the hall, but when the thieves saw her at the door, they raced away. Pleased with his work, Tom crept outside and spent the night in a hayloft. Early the next morning, the maid picked up a bundle of hay to feed to the cows. Little did she know that she had picked up the tiny boy too, and soon he was swallowed by a hungry cow. Tom's cries were drowned out by the loud moo from the cow as she continued to chew the hay happily. Only later, as the maid finished milking, did she hear Tom calling, "I'm inside the cow." The startled maid ran to fetch the parson. It wasn't an easy task, but finally Tom was freed, and yet his adventures did not stop there. For just as Tom was crossing a field, he was spotted by a wolf lurking in the trees. Quick as a flash, the hungry wolf sprang out of the woods and pounced on poor Tom, swallowing him whole. But the clever little boy did not give up. He had a plan. "My good friend, how would you like a feast?" he called out. The wolf could not resist. "A feast, you say?" he replied eagerly. "With ham, beef, cold chicken, cake, and every delight you could wish for," replied Tom, directing the wolf to his parents' house. Arriving there, the wolf headed straight to the pantry. He ate and ate and ate and soon needed to lie down. Inside the wolf's tummy, Tom began to sing very loudly. "Keep quiet," snapped the wolf, but Tom continued, and his trick worked. The farmer's wife woke and called her husband. As they peeped into the kitchen, they were horrified to see a wolf sleeping by the pantry door. As the farmer grabbed his axe, he was amazed to hear Tom calling out, "Father, father, I'm inside the wolf." So the farmer struck the wolf on the head. Minutes later, to the delight of his parents, Tom Thumb was sitting on the kitchen table, telling them all about his adventures. "I have been down a mouse hole, slept in a snail shell, been eaten first by a cow and then a wolf," he laughed. "And now you are home," cried his mother happily, and they all agreed there was no place better than home. The end. Thank you for letting me read to you tonight. I hope you feel safe and I hope you feel loved. Good night, little ones.